If you want to understand how the global elite actually hide their wealth, you have to stop looking at bank accounts. You have to stop looking at the stock market, offshore trusts, and crypto wallets. Retail investors and the middle class are obsessed with digital numbers on a screen. But the smart money, the institutional titans, and the architects of the artificial intelligence boom are playing a completely different, terrifyingly physical game. Right now, the most shocking wealth divide in modern human history is being engineered right in front of us. While the public debates which software company will win the AI race, trillion-dollar corporations are executing a silent pivot. They are rotating out of the digital illusion. They are aggressive, quietly, and systematically buying the physical earth. They are acquiring massive tracts of agricultural land. They are securing exclusive water rights. They are monopolizing heavy electrical grids and cornering the market on deep earth minerals. If you want to know how every trillion-dollar company makes money in the coming decade, the answer is no longer just software. The answer is infrastructure sovereignty. The era of the digital monopoly is over. Welcome to the era of the physical monopoly. Those who own the code will be wealthy, but those who own the dirt, the water, and the copper will dictate the future of human civilization. Retail investors are walking blindfolded into a structural trap. While you are buying virtual assets, the elite, they are quietly buying the physical earth. For the last 20 years, Silicon Valley sold us a very seductive, very profitable lie. It was called the myth of dematerialization. The theory was simple. As technology advances, the economy becomes weightless. We were told that bits would replace atoms, that the physical world would fade into a frictionless digital utopia. Software ate the world, and venture capitalists printed unimaginable fortunes by keeping their overhead near zero. Building an app required almost no physical capital, just laptops, coders, and a server subscription. This generated the highest profit margins in the history of capitalism. But artificial intelligence is violently destroying that economic model. AI does not live in a weightless cloud. It is the heaviest, most resource-intensive technology ever created. Generative AI requires physical hyperscale data centers that cover millions of square feet. It requires hundreds of thousands of specialized silicon chips. And most importantly, it requires gigawatts of baseload electrical power. The tech giants, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Meta, have suddenly realized a terrifying truth. Their trillion-dollar software empires are entirely dependent on fragile, aging physical infrastructure that they do not control. They are vulnerable to grid failures, copper shortages, and government permitting delays. To protect their valuations, these companies are forced to undergo a massive capital expenditure cycle. They are transitioning from asset-light software companies into heavy industrial behemoths. They are becoming energy companies. They are becoming real estate conglomerates. They are pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into concrete, steel, and nuclear power. The rules of wealth generation have structurally inverted. The digital frontier has been fully conquered and monetized. The new monopolies will be forged in heavy metal and concrete. To understand the sheer scale of this physical land grab, we have to look at the anatomy of the grid. An AI data center is useless without electricity, but generating electricity is only the first bottleneck. You have to transport that power from the reactor to the server racks. And there is only one element on the periodic table that can do this efficiently at scale: copper. The red metal, the unsung hero of the artificial intelligence revolution. Every single gigawatt of new power requires thousands of tons of copper cabling. Every massive electrical transformer, every high-voltage transmission line requires pure, high-grade copper. But the Earth is simply running out of easily accessible copper reserves. Discovering a new major copper deposit takes years. Getting the permits to mine it takes a decade. Building the extraction infrastructure takes billions in upfront capital. The supply of copper is wildly inelastic. It cannot be printed like fiat currency. It cannot be coded like software. And yet, the demand from AI data centers, electric vehicles, and grid modernization is exploding simultaneously. We are facing a structural, multi-million-ton deficit in global copper supply by the end of this decade. And the elite capital allocators know this. This is why the smartest billionaires and sovereign wealth funds are not just buying tech stocks. They are heavily positioning themselves in base metal equities, mining infrastructure, and commodity trading houses. They are securing the physical choke points of the supply chain. If you control the copper, you have a toll bridge over the entire AI industry. Every time a trillion-dollar company wants to build a new data center, they have to pay the copper tax. The wealth transfer happening right now is moving from the software engineers to the commodity titans. He who controls the copper controls the compute. But there is another physical resource being quietly monopolized. A resource far more critical to human survival than copper or uranium: water. When we think of artificial intelligence, we think of glowing servers and complex algorithms. We rarely think of the immense, violent heat generated by tens of thousands of GPUs processing data at the speed of light. Cooling these hyperscale data centers is an engineering nightmare. And the most efficient, cost-effective way to cool them is through massive evaporative water systems. A single, mid-sized data center can consume millions of gallons of fresh water every single day. Now, multiply that by the thousands of AI facilities being built across the globe. Many of these data centers are deliberately placed in arid regions, deserts, or areas already facing severe drought conditions. Why? Because land and solar energy are cheap there, but the water is not. Trillion-dollar tech companies are quietly signing secretive long-term contracts with local municipalities. They are securing priority access to municipal water supplies, often leaving local communities in the dark about the true environmental cost. Simultaneously, legacy billionaires have been buying up hundreds of thousands of acres of prime agricultural land over the last decade. They aren't doing this because they want to be farmers. They are doing this because in many legal jurisdictions, owning the land means owning the water rights beneath it. As the climate shifts and global freshwater supplies face unprecedented stress, water will transition from a basic human right into a highly financialized premium asset class. The physical monopoly requires cooling, and the elite are making sure they hold the keys to the reservoir. In the age of artificial intelligence, water is the ultimate silent casualty. When you connect these dots, the land, the copper, the energy, and the water, a terrifying geopolitical picture emerges. We are witnessing the architectural blueprint for America's most shocking wealth divide. In the 20th century, the middle class could build wealth because the barriers to entry were relatively low. You could start a business, buy a home, and participate in the economic expansion. Even the early internet was a great equalizer. It allowed anyone in a garage to disrupt massive corporations. But the AI era is fundamentally different. It is an era of massive, exclusionary scale. You cannot build a frontier AI model in your garage. You need a $10 billion data center. You cannot secure gigawatts of dedicated nuclear power unless you are a trillion-dollar entity. The physical infrastructure required to participate in the future economy is being completely walled off by a handful of corporate superpowers. This is not just late-stage capitalism. This is the dawn of digital feudalism. In the medieval era, the king and the lords owned all the physical land. The peasants were allowed to work the land, but they had to pay a heavy tax in the form of their crops. They owned nothing, and they rented their existence from the elite. Today, the lords are the tech monopolies and the asset managers. The land is the computing infrastructure, the data centers, and the energy grids. And the peasants are the rest of us. We will rent our intelligence, our software, and our digital tools from them. We will pay a monthly subscription fee just to remain economically viable in the workforce. The elite are hiding their wealth in the ultimate safe haven, the physical necessities of the future. They are monopolizing the compute, the energy to run it, and the metals to build it. The greatest financial scam of our generation is not a Ponzi scheme or a crypto collapse. It is the illusion that the internet made us free, while the physical infrastructure of the internet enslaved us to a handful of monopolies. You can ignore the macro trends. You can keep chasing the next hot software stock. But understand this: when the music stops, the ones holding the physical infrastructure will hold the world. Do not get caught owning only digital illusions, because the physical monopoly is already built, and you are living inside it.